Alright, first and foremost, I'd like to give all praises and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Harakah Kodash, double honors unto the apostles and the elders of great millstone that surely do well. Peace and blessings unto the Arkham, throughout the four corners of the world. I push this word in all sincerity and in all diligence. This is Matana from Channel at Camp West, coming to the Spirit and the power of the Lord once again to do another video edifying unto the Lord's flock. And this this video gonna be surrounding the idea of this should be in a marathon instead of a sprint, and I just gonna look up the meaning of marathon versus sprint, and just look at the differences in requirements by the athletes of both races, and show you that this truth is like an entire marathon, and it don't require much speed, but what it require much more endurance than speed. This is the term marathon. It says a foot race run on an open course, usually of 26 miles and 385 yards, which is approximately 42.2 kilometers. Broadly a long distance race. It says 2A, an endurance contest. B, something such as an event, activity, or session characterized by great length or concentrated effort. So that's what the term marathon mean. It says sprint. It says to run or go at top speed, especially for a short distance. It says the act or an instance of sprinting, a dash, a burst of speed. There's from online BillyGrahamLibrary.org. It says sprint or marathon. A sprint is very different from a marathon. A sprint covers a short distance and lasts just for a few seconds, while a marathon covers miles and may last for hours. But the difference isn't only one of distance or time. It is also in the amount of stamina they require from each runner. It says the runner in a sprint race, a 100-yard dash for example, or a 200-meter race, pours all of his energy into those few seconds of intense activity, crossing the finish line drained and exhausted. If he had to run another 100 yards or 200 meters, he might collapse, or at least he would slow down dramatically. The marathon runner, on the other hand, carefully paces himself, not using up all his energy in the early part of the race, but measuring it out, maintaining a steady rate of speed as long as possible. And that is the truth. A marathon instead of a sprint. You don't pour all of your zeal or all of your spirit into the early part, and you finish you finish your course. You finish the race and you finish your course drained. As a matter of fact, you can't finish the course because you're drained and exhausted after a short distance. Why? Because you sprint instead of carefully pacing yourself. Whereas another man pace himself early on and maintain a steady speed, and probably when you see the finish line, might increase speed, because he's seeing the finish line there. Now, what the scripture said about this, let me get that in first in Ecclesiastes 9 and verse 11. It says, I return and saw under the sun that the race is not to the swift, nor the battle to the strong, neither yet bread to the wise, nor yet riches to men of understanding, nor yet favor to men of skill, but time and chance happen to them all. Especially this race that we're running in the truth is not for the swift, but is for who can endure, who have stamina or endurance, to finish the race, to cross the finish line. I'm gonna read Hebrews Hebrews 12 and verse 1. It says, "Wherefore, seeing we are also compassed about with so great a cloud of witnesses, let us lay aside every weight, every hindrance, every obstacle, and the sin which doth so easily beset us." So those things are gonna ensnare you: adultery, fornication, idolatry, eating unclean food, pride, egoism, all these things, you lay them aside. And let us run with patience the race that is set before us. Why? Because it's a marathon. You're running it with patience because you're not actually seeing the finish line. You know it have a finish line, but you're not actually seeing it in your, how to say it, in your view. Whereas 100-meter or a 200-meter, you're gonna see the finish line within your view. You're gonna see the finish marker or the end of the race. But a marathon, there's a finish line, but when you start the race, you're not actually seeing it. You don't actually know how long again there is to go. That's why the scripture says, "Let us run with patience the race that is set before us," because it's a marathon. You require much more endurance than speed. That's why the Lord said, "And he that endureth unto the end, the same shall be saved." Not he that sprints unto the end, but he that endureth unto the end. But let's look up that word, patience. It says hypomone. It says steadfastness, constancy, endurance. This is what the word patient mean. In the New Testament, the characteristic of a man who is not swerved from his deliberate purpose and his loyalty to faith and piety by even the greatest trials and sufferings, patiently and steadfastly. A patient, steadfast waiting for, a patient enduring, sustaining perseverance. So it basically goes back to look here, great example. It says cheerful or hopeful endurance, constancy. So you're hoping, and if you're hoping, you would run with speed because you don't know how long ago. So like how long again is the finish line, but you're hoping that it is near, so you're maintaining that steady pace. You're always reserving an energy in case the finish line isn't near. But if you give that full burst energy at the beginning, you're gonna run out of energy before the finish line comes. Way before the finish line comes. Understand? It says, and let us run with patience the race that is set before us. So the shoot is likened unto a race. And not just any race. As I said before, a marathon, because it requires endurance over speed. It requires you to being able to suffer, you being able to go through afflictions in order to finish, and that is coming a marathon. For those who run marathon, you would know that sometimes your legs might be feeling like they want to give out. Your chest might be feeling like it's closing in. All these things, your ankle might start to hurt. All these is things, that we face in each, things that we have to face in the truth, obstacles, things that trying to hinder you, things that trying to, stop you from running the race, things that try to stop you from or avoid or prevent you from crossing the finish line. You know, but you have to suffer it in order to cross. You have to suffer these things in order to cross the finish line, because that is the ultimate goal, to end what you start. He that endureth unto the end. You know. So you have to maintain a steady pace. You have to maintain constancy. You have to persevere. This is 2 Timothy 4 and verse 7. It says, I have fought a good fight, I have finished my course, I have kept the faith. Look up that term course. Yo. It says dromos. It says a course in the New Testament, figuratively the course of life of office. It says from the alternate G5143, a race, that is figuratively, or in essence figuratively, career, which this truth is like an unto a profession. It's like an unto a job, you know, a career. You know, you being part of the ministry of the Most High. This is an office. So the Apostle Paul said that what he finished his course, he finished his race. I have fought a good fight, I have finished my course, I have kept the faith. Henceforth there is laid up for me a crown of righteousness, which the Lord the righteous judge shall give me at that day, and not to me only, but unto all them also that love is appearing. You know. So what, you have to finish the course, and he come back again in this timing to do his to run that course again, or to run that race again, to maintain his integrity unto the end. And he's gonna do it because as he's a man of the Lord, he's a member of the Lord's elect. So ultimately he gonna end up, you know, finishing that course again, because that is his lot. You know, he's not gonna divert from that lot. He's not gonna change from what he's supposed to be doing. Or that goes for all of us. We're supposed to do what we're supposed to fight a good fight and finish the course, finish the race. You know, keep the faith unto the end. And what he said, henceforth there is laid up for me a crown of righteousness, which the Lord the righteous judge shall give me at that day, and not to me only, but unto all them also that love is appearing. You know, so as long as you finish the course, whether it be that you endure until the chariots come, or you endure unto the guillotines by becoming a martyr for the Lord, guess what you're gonna receive, or they're gonna be laid up for your crown of righteousness. You know, but it ain't gonna come easy. You're gonna have a lot of obstacles in the way. You're gonna have a lot of trials in the way. You're gonna have a lot of demons trying to get in your mind to turn back, saying, hey, quit this race, saying, hey, you're starting to catch cramp, your muscles hurting, you know, you're getting a headache, your throat becoming dry, you're thirsty, all these things. But you now have to put within your mind that you must finish this race, that you must endure unto the end. If you don't have that mentality to never give up, then guess what? Demons gonna plague your mind until you do end up, you know, giving in to them, and they're fully consuming your mind, and they're going back and out into the world. And that is not something that you want to do. You know, there's 1 Corinthians 9 And verse 23. Verse 24, it says, know ye not that they which run in a race run all, but one receiveth the prize? So run that he may obtain. You gotta run that he may obtain. But you gotta run with what? Patience, great endurance, having stamina to last or to finish the race. It says, and every man that striveth for the mastery is temperate in all things. And in discipline, to be temperate is to have self-control or self-discipline. Now they do it to obtain a corruptible crown, but we an incorruptible. And when you're an athlete, there's certain foods that you would be advised to stay from, certain practices like drinking alcohol, consuming certain foods, having certain sleeping habits, practicing each day. Be waking up early, doing certain stuff in order to obtain that corruptible crown. It says, but we an incorruptible crown, so we have to be more self-disciplined than them, have to be more self-control than them, have to be more temperate than them, because the prize that we're going to receive is much more value or much more valuable than that which they receive in this world. It says, I therefore so run, not as uncertainly, so fight I, not as one that beateth the air, but I keep under my body and bring it into subjection, lest that by any means, so in other words, he keeping his body disciplined, lest that by any means, when I have preached to others, I myself should be a castaway. And you don't want that to be your lot. So what you had to do, you had to be temperate in all things. Not giving, ultimately, you can't choose whether or not to be a part of the Lord's elect, but you're trying your best not to become an eyesore in the Lord's view. So that is how this truth is. This truth is a marathon. Pacing yourself, starting off at a slow pace or at a steady pace, a pace that you could maintain for a very long period of time, that you wouldn't be able to stop. You might slow down, but you won't be able to stop. So with that, I want to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Yahweh Kodash, the ones unto the apostles and the elders of Christ, who that truly do well. Peace and blessings unto the Akim, truly focus of the world, and until next time, I say Shalom.